Yeah, it's out now. Yeah, sorry, that's my room mic.
Hey everybody, welcome to Ignite Groups. You can scream behind that mask. You need to let everybody who's with us online know you're here. Can you guys scream? Speaking of screaming, how was your weekend, Josiah?
Oh man, I was fall fling.
It was fall fling.
I didn't stop screaming for a weekend.
Make some noise if you were at fall fling.
Oh my gosh.
Well, we had a blast, and I feel like we should
Such a
share
fun.
our favorite moments.
Okay.
Do you want to share your favorite moment?
I think you should go first.
Okay, I would love to go first. So my favorite moment was I went into the gym area and I noticed somebody was getting a beat down. And they have like this padded room. Apparently
no.
that's an activity at Camp Chaminade right now, is a padded room with noodles and pillows where you just give someone a beat down. And Josiah
needs a padded room some days. Is that what I'm
Josiah was
hearing?
absolutely getting obliterated with noodles and pillows, and I got it on video, guys.
Oh, dear.
Got it on video.
You did?
And if you guys make some noise, I will put that on YouTube tonight.
YouTube?
But do you want to see it? Do you want
Wait.
to see Josiah getting
On youtube.com/ConstanceMSM, that YouTube?
on our own channel?
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, I didn't
Yes.
want them to know where that was.
But they're kind of quiet, so maybe they don't care.
They don't care. They don't want to see me get beaten down.
They're going to have to make some noise if they want to see that tonight. It is a full minute of people beating you down with noodles and pillows.
So are we starting with lowlights of fall fling? Because we might have the same answer.
Go.
My highlight of fall fling was probably when we just obliterated the high school dodgeball team. Just like, yeah. Have you heard of the Boston Massacre before? It was like the Chaminade Massacre.
Oh,
But
roasted
with less
high
death.
school.
Less death.
Yes.
Well,
Well,
good. That's
that
great.
might be a first ever. Middle school beat a high school team at Fall Fling. So.
Yeah, my favorite part was watching Grace get out, honestly.
Oh.
Sorry, Grace.
She's not listening.
She's not listening. Typical. All right, let's get started.
All right, let's get things rolling. We have a game tonight, and this game is going to involve your leaders, and they don't know this yet, but I have all their names in this little cup, and they can, if they don't want to do it, they don't have to.
No,
But I will-
don't give them an out. They're obligated.
Don't worry, I'm not going to make you eat sardines or anything that I've been made to do.
Wah, wah.
But I will call out two names. Those leaders will run up front, and then something will appear on the screen, a challenge, and then we will figure out which leader wins. But you guys are all going to play, so we are going to have some student winners at the end of this game. So how this will work, so you guys can all stand up, actually. Everyone stand up. So you're all in to start. We do have some instructions if we want to put those on the screen. So this game is called Leader Duel, okay? Everybody stand up, and all you need to play is raising your right hand, raising your left hand, okay? So that when the two leaders come on stage, somebody's going to be over here. Right person, someone over here, left person. So when we have our question come on the screen, you guys are going to vote which leader you think gets it right or which one it's true of, okay? So you're going to vote, and then if you get it right, you get to stay standing. If you get it wrong, you're going to sit down, okay? So if you get it right, you get to go on to the next round. Does that sound amazing? Okay, here we go.
Sounds great, Cindy.
Woo!
Are you drawing? Okay, you're drawing.
I could have you draw,
This
but
looks
we'd be breaking
great.
all the COVID guidelines.
Oh, yeah, no,
Okay.
we're rule
Oh,
followers
this
in these
person's not
parts.
here.
Oh, throw it away. Vote it off the island.
Oh, not here again.
Oh, 2 down.
A couple leaders not here tonight.
Maybe you should have me draw.
Sharon!
Sharon!
Sharon's here!
Woo! Sharon, come on up.
Patty. Is Patty here? Oh, come on up. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
we
we
have
got
Sarah.
Sarah and Patty.
Okay. Don't worry. Okay.
All
So,
right.
on the screen, we have traveled the farthest. Okay, so think about where you've traveled the farthest. You guys are going to vote. Is it Sarah? Is it Patty? Okay, so you guys are going to vote before we reveal. Okay, you guys voting?
All
Last
right.
chance. Vote, 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 vote. Germany. Sarah has won. All right. Patty has traveled to Iceland. It was close.
Oh my goodness.
But
Those are
stay
both pretty far.
standing.
That's
if
cool.
if you rose your right hand for Sarah, stay standing. You're still in, and you guys are done. See, painless.
Woo!
Nothing torturous. All right.
Yet.
Trent Lackey.
Trent!
He's here.
You guys need to cheer when we pick a leader. Trent!
Rick Cotter.
Rick!
All right, let's have our next question. Ooh, eating the weirdest food. Think of the weirdest thing you've ever had to eat.
This
And
seems
then-
subjective.
Well, we're the
Okay,
judges.
we're gonna confer.
Yeah, okay. So you're gonna tell Josiah. You guys are gonna vote. They're gonna secretly tell Josiah. You guys get to vote. If you're still in, vote. Raise them high. Right, you think it's Rick. Left, you think it's Trent. Okay, everybody's voted. You've made a distinction. He's got to discuss.
Him.
Okay, well.
I think we got one.
Okay,
All right.
who's the winner?
I'm gonna go with the, what was it? What did you say, dried calamari? That
Oh.
sounds gross to me. I'm saying that's the winner.
So if you have your left hand raised, if you were voting for Trent, you're still in. Everybody else sit down.
I think frog legs was pretty weird too, but all right, thank you guys.
Thank you guys. All right, Gina Lowe.
I think we need to get both of them. Oh yeah, Gina!
Angela Kranz.
Woo, Angela!
Gina and Angela. Okay. Angela loves when we call her on stage to do things.
That's her favorite part of being an Ignite leader.
Okay, here we go. Slept in the latest
Oh,
ever in your life. The
my
latest time
goodness.
you've ever slept in. You guys, who's still in? Oh, we still got people in. Raise your hand. Raise them high. Time to vote.
Boo.
Whoa, okay, clear winner. Clear winner. Josiah, what's the latest you've ever slept in?
I don't want to share that.
3 p.m.
I was gonna say 3 after a mission trip.
3 p.m. Okay, well, these ladies, nope, they're getting
So
life
much
done.
better than I am in terms of sleep.
If you picked Angela, you win. 11 o'clock. Gina said
Those are
8.
rookie numbers.
8
Just
a.m.
kidding. Yay!
What?
8 a.m. What
8
the
a.m.
heck?
What?
Can we boo people?
Tim Buckman. Cassie.
Cassie! Woo!
Oh, broken the most bones. Broken the
Oh.
most bones.
This is
Oh, wow.
gotta
Okay.
be a good
Add
one.
them up. Add them up. Ooh, we still got people that raise them
It's
high.
a
You
number.
gotta vote.
It's a number. Okay.
Right hand is Cassie. Left hand is Tim. Everybody's
All right. All right.
voting.
All right. Let's see. Cindy, we need a judges conference.
It's a tie. Everybody stays in. How many bones? Oh, they each one. Okay,
They've
it's
only
a tie.
both
You guys all
broken
get to stay
one.
in. Saved. All right, thanks.
Safe round. Woo!
Lorraine.
Lorraine. Woo!
Hannah. Winner.
Hannah. Hannah, you got a couple claps. There we go.
All right,
Second
here
round.
we go. Oh, served in student ministries the longest, so this could be tricky. Served as a leader in student ministries the longest. You guys vote.
Uh-oh.
Okay,
We have
you
some
guys-
technicalities.
Okay, raise them high. So if you have your left hand raised, you win. Hannah's served
I saw someone change.
with middle school since 6th grade. Lorraine has served with us for 2 years, although she did have a lot of years in Awana. But we're going to give it to Hannah. So if you have your left hand up, you win. Everybody else sit down. Who is still in? Who's still
Okay.
in?
I see.
Okay, couple people. Okay, we'll do one more round.
One more round.
The rest
Last
of
round.
You'll be the winners. Okay. Not here. Angie Carilla.
Woo!
Shannon.
Shannon.
Shannon Gould.
That's weird. I don't call her Shannon. Is she here?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Vicky, you're going to have to step in.
Sub!
Okay.
We need a sub!
Need a sub. Okay.
Sub.
Oh, wow. This is
funny.
bad choice. Most pets. Okay, so you're voting for Vicky, right hand, and Angie, left hand. Throw them up. Hands go.
Will it be the one with the dog mask?
You guys all voting?
The one with the plane
You have to raise them high so I can see, because I'm going to check your answers. Okay. All right. Well, I'm pretty sure it's Vicky. How many pets do you have? 6.
Down to 6.
2. Okay. So if you had your right hand up, you stay in. Sit down if you don't. So who's still in? I think we have some winners. Okay. So if you're a winner, why don't you hustle up here so I can take down your name so I get a prize while Josiah tells us some announcements.
All right. Well, I wanted to let you know something that's coming up. So we just had Fall Fling, which was super fun and super exciting. And now we have something coming up in November, which is another great opportunity. We have our Student Ministry Serve Day coming up on Saturday, November 14th. Our Student Ministry Serve Days have been some of our favorite days throughout the last couple of years, where we see a bunch of you guys come on campus and do service projects for those people in our community who maybe need some encouragement or need some help. So we have some different projects we're planning for you guys to be able to bless those in our church body who are in need, or bless those people who just need a little bit of encouragement. So if you are interested in doing that, we're going to need you guys to sign up online, and then we will get you more details after you've signed up.
All right, we hope you can make it to that. It's going to be a great morning. All right, well, we're going to worship.
Let's stand.
All right, well, it's good to be here. Good to see all you guys. Feel free to still show your excitement even with your mask on, so jump around, but be excited, but still respect everybody's space.
Crashing over every day. God of mercy, please come rescue me.
I am longing.
I am longing for your voice, gentle whisper in the noise. Father, tell me everything's alright.
Your power.
Your power, your presence breaks strongholds. King of heaven, when you speak, mountains move. I believe there will be breakthrough. You alone can take my scars. Piece by piece restore my heart. Take what's broken, make me whole again.
Sing your power.
Your power and your presence break strongholds. King of heaven, when you speak, mountains move. I believe there will be breakthrough. Yeah.
Sing, you are here.
You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you.
Sing, Waymaker. Sing it out.
Light in the darkness, my God, that is you. 'Cause you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper. Light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are.
Sing, that is who you are.
That is who you are. That is who you are. That is who you are. That is who you are. That is who you are. That is who you are. That is who you are. That is who you are.
Sing,
Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop.
sing, even when.
Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop. 'Cause you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. 'Cause you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are.
Sing, that is who you are.
That is who you are. That is who you are. That is who you are. That is who you are.
Sing, that is who.
That is who you are. That is who you are. That is who you are. That is who you are.
Just your voices sing.
Waymaker, miracle worker, promise.
Sing it out.
In the darkness, my God, that is you are. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keep, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. 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 That is who you are.
Dear God, thank you for this time and this moment. God, as the world's crazy and chaotic, thank you for songs like this that just remind us that you are the Waymaker. Thank you for all these students that have shown up, all the leaders and volunteers. I just pray that you bless our evening together. And God, we just want to pray for any family members that are sick or just not doing so well, God, that you provide strength and healing. God, just pray that you're with the world right now as there's just so many things going on. There's a lot of darkness, a lot of bad, but God, there's still you and there's still good. And in the darkest times, a very small light or small flame shines bright. So God, I just pray that you ignite each one of these students. Just go out and serve and bless and love. Just be peace and not cause strife or tension. So God, thank you again for this evening. Thank you for all these students. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, you guys can have a seat.
Hey everybody, how we doing? Woo! I'm JP. If you don't know me, I am the 8th grade large group leader here and also a math teacher at Legacy. So I'm excited to do this. I've never actually spoken up front on the big stage here. This is impressive. Y'all are really bright, like smart. I can tell. Bright, yeah. Okay, I want you to think of somebody that you envy. Do you guys envy anybody or jealous of anybody? Raise your hands if you've ever been jealous or envious of anybody. Oh, good. There's some of you out there. This is perfect because this is what we're talking about tonight. And here's where I want you to start thinking. Think about somebody. Maybe it's a friend or somebody on your sports team. Maybe they're really good at sports and you're a little jealous of them or envious of them. Or maybe it's a sibling because they're a little smarter than you and your parents are like, oh, why can't you be like them or something? Or maybe you're jealous of somebody on social media because they have more likes than you or more posts than you or more views than you. Or maybe you're just jealous of somebody or envious of somebody that's famous because they get all the popularity and they're getting all the attention. You just want to be like them. Or maybe you're just out there and you're like, boy, JP, I really envy you because you can do math and you can sing the quadratic formula song and you can do derivatives and integrals and you're like, wow. Maybe not. Maybe you're just sitting there saying, I don't envy you, what? And you just are going to be glad when your math classes are done. I get that. We are in the middle of a series. How many of you know what the series is called? Just shout it out. Oh, good. Well done. Yes, we're in the middle of a series called Canceled. It's kind of like canceling people out of your life. This is week 3. Week 1, we talked about people in your life who aren't like you. And instead of canceling them out of your life, show God's love to them. So people aren't like you. And then a couple weeks ago, we talked about people who are in need. And don't cancel them out of your life. Find ways to show God's love to them. Tonight, we're talking about envy, if you haven't caught on already. So we're going to take a look at people that you might envy or be jealous of. And what I want to do is give you a bigger picture of what envy is, or a better definition, okay? So envy is not, oh man, Josiah's getting that iPhone 12 on Friday when it comes out. I actually don't know if this is true. This is just, man, I just wish I was getting an iPhone 12. That's not where we're going with envy. Envy isn't, oh, I wish I had that. Envy is where you get ugly and it just goes deeper than, I want that phone, and then you start kind of attacking the person instead. That's what envy is. And maybe you start avoiding the person, like if it's a sports thing and you're really jealous of how good they are, and maybe you just start avoiding them, or maybe you make fun of them or talk about them behind their back, or maybe you just dislike them and you don't even talk to them anymore. Those are where we're going. And it's easy as you start wishing for things that you let this envy creep in, and here's where it comes in. It starts canceling your joy. How many of you like to be happy and joyful? Yeah, if you start getting envious of stuff, of somebody, you're canceling your joy. And you're also canceling your contentment, being content and happy with what you have, and also your self-worth. That's a big one. You start feeling like you're not worthy because you're not like them. I'm going to give you a couple analogies here, because envy can start small, but it just grows bigger into this green. Have you heard green with envy? Two of you have. Okay, for the rest of you, there's a saying called green with envy. I should have actually done some research and figured out where that comes from. Don't ask me. It's a saying, green with envy, because you're just really green with envy. So we're going to come back to that. I'm going to give you a couple examples. How many of you went to Fall Fling this weekend? Woo! Wasn't that fun? Wasn't that weather amazing? Could you have asked for better weather? I mean, winter wipeout was amazing, wasn't it? We were able to actually get outside and freeze, I know. Here's what I found frustrating, though. The first night, I did what every good leader does. You get your guys in the cabin and, lights out at 12:30, so we made sure that we were, it wasn't exactly 12:30, but a little after, and we were getting everybody to bed, and, shh. And then I get up the next morning and talking to Josiah, and he's like, oh yeah, my guys, we stayed up late, and we were talking and having fun. I'm like, really? Come on, I'm a little jealous. How come you got to stay up a little late and talk with your guys, and I was the good leader and put them all to bed? I'm a little jealous of you. And it just started creeping in. And then it got worse. Because then the next day, or same day, Saturday, when I was the leader that day, he's got this little following, and, oh, Uncle Joe, wow, Uncle Joe. I think it was the same kids that were pummeling him, though, in that video. So, but how come he gets this fun little nickname? What's my nickname? JP? Wow, 2 letters. Wow, how come he gets this fun little nickname? And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm amazing. You know what? He's not even an uncle. And then comes the football game. And who's the coach of the football game? Josiah's the coach. Oh, don't pick the math guy because he doesn't know football. Don't pick the math guy even though he can get the angles right and he can figure out the trajectory of the football. Yeah, you'd think you'd pick me. No, what do? You pick the football guy, and he's the coach. You know what? They didn't even win. None of that was actually true, but you can see where I'm going with this, where it slowly just becomes so dark with envy as you start switching from, it wasn't about staying up late with the guys, it wasn't about the nickname, and it wasn't about the football coach. I started making it not about those, but I started making it about Josiah. And by the way, that's not true, okay? He's a great guy, all right? But you can see what I'm saying. That my envy became all about him, and it just got really deep. I'm going to take a look at one more example. If you take a look, if you want, in your Bibles at 1 Samuel 18, we're going to take a look at a guy in the Bible named King Saul. How many of you have heard of King Saul? Maybe? And David? Yeah. King Saul was the first king of? Very good. See, I told you, you are a bright group, literally and figuratively. You are a bright group. Yeah, Saul was the first king of Israel. And here's the problem. King Saul disobeyed God. And God kind of rejected him as king. And so God decided, you know what, we're going to have this young shepherd boy named David become the next king. And so Saul knew there was going to be a new king. He didn't know who it was, which is kind of ironic because when Saul first met David, David was a great guy. He was a young kid, and he would play his harp and help Saul just kind of relax when he was stressed. And he would just really help Saul decompress. He also led some good missions for his army, and he would become an amazing army guy for Saul. And he was best friends with Saul's son, who was? Jonathan. Okay, we'll get there. This is Bible Trivia 101. So David became best friends with Saul's son, Jonathan. And maybe you've heard of David and Goliath. Yeah. I mean, you guys think Diesel's tall? Goliath is 9.5 feet tall. And yet David with his stone and sling, and God provided, and he killed Goliath. And here's where we're kind of going with our story. So David seemed like a great guy. Why wouldn't Saul just be so amazed by him? So this is where we're going to be, 1 Samuel 18. I'm going to start in verse 6. And it says, hang on one second. I'm going to make sure I have the right version. Yep. When the men were returning home after David had killed the Philistine, this is when David just killed Goliath. And the women came out from the towns of Israel to meet Saul with their singing and dancing and joyful songs and timbrels and lyres. Oh, this is going to be great. The women are coming out singing, and David's coming back, and Saul's coming back, and they're dancing, and they sing, Saul has slain thousands. Yeah, go Saul. And David his tens of thousands. You know what? Math lesson. What's greater, 1,000 or 10,000? Very good. So now Saul's like, uh-oh, they're really thinking highly of David. Saul was very angry. This refrain displeased him greatly. They've credited David with tens of thousands, but me with only thousands. What more can he get but the kingdom? In other words, might as well let him be king. And from that time on, Saul kept a close eye on David. And so Saul's jealousy of him started growing into this envy. It's like, oh my goodness, there are all these songs and they're just really promoting David. Like, he's amazing. Continues. The next day, an evil spirit from God came forcefully on Saul. He was prophesying in his house while David was playing the lyre, as he usually did. Remember, David kind of played some music, helped Saul calm down. And Saul had a spear in his hand, and he hurled it, saying to himself, I'll pin David to the wall. Oh my goodness. He actually wanted to try and pin David to the wall. Could you imagine having a spear like stab you right in the shoulder or something? You're like, I can't move. That's kind of what Saul was doing. So it goes from he's being a little jealous of all the songs to now he's trying to throw a spear and pin him to the wall. It only gets worse. Now I'm going to jump to chapter 19 here. Saul told his son Jonathan, remember, Saul had a son named Jonathan, and all the attendants to kill David, but Jonathan had taken a great liking to David. Remember, Jonathan and David were really good friends, and this we're going to come back to, but this is a really big blessing for David because he had a good friend. The only downside is, look at what it says. Saul told his son Jonathan and all the attendants to kill David. But Jonathan had taken great liking to David and warned him, my father Saul is looking for a chance to kill you. And that's where it became worse. It went from Saul getting all these ladies are like, oh, he killed tens of thousands, and David killed tens of thousands, and he's getting a little envious of that. And then it builds into, you know what, this is getting worse, and then he's trying to pin him to the wall with a spear, and then it gets even worse to the fact where now he's wanting to kill him. That's where this envy just becomes ugly. He was trying to cancel David once and for all with a spear. So, as with any good TV show on TV, after these messages, we're going to come back and finish this story. And the messages are, we're going to sing a couple songs here. So, there's more to this story. I'm going to leave it with this, okay?
A couple more songs, and then we get to hear from Josiah. Woo!
Lord bless you and keep you, make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Amen. mountains are still being moved, and strongholds are still being loosed. God, we believe it. Yes, we can see that wonders are still what you do. We are here for you. Come and do what you do. We are here for you. Come and do what you do. Set our hearts on you. Come and do what you do. 'Cause we need a move. We need a move. Bodies are still being raised. Giants are still being slain. God, we believe it. Yes, we can see that wonders are still what you do. We are here. We are here for you. Come and do what you do. We are here for you. Come and do what you do. Set our hearts on you. Come and do what you do. 'Cause we need a move. We need a move. Miracles happen when you move. Healing is coming in this room. Miracles happen when you move. Heaven is coming. Miracles happen when you move. Healing is coming in this room. Miracles happen when you move. Heaven is coming. This is a move. This is a move. We are here for you. Come and do what you do. We are here for you. Come and do what you do. Set our hearts on you. Come and do what you do. 'Cause we need a move. We need a move. This is a move. This is a move.
All right, you guys can be seated.
All right, thanks so much, worship team. Can you guys give them a round of applause? It is just so fun to be able to worship together. You know, I sound a little funny singing under the mask, but man, I'm so thankful that the Lord cares so much more about my heart when I worship than how great it sounds. Because I don't think any of us sound great under these masks. No offense, not an insult. Anyway, so I learned something listening to JP's message. I actually learned a couple things. Learned a little bit about Saul and David and Jonathan, a couple characters we're going to dig a little more into. I also learned that I think we have a couple things to work out, JP. I think we might need to talk after this. Let's talk? All right, we might need a mediator. Anyone volunteer to mediate? Oh, good, we've got plenty of mediators, JP. I'll even let you pick one. All right, well, I want us to dig a little bit deeper into the story of David and Saul and Jonathan. JP mentioned Jonathan a little bit, but I want to dig into this character, Jonathan, a little bit more. And I say character because this is told as a story, but as we're talking about this, I want you guys to remember that this is something that actually happened, right? When we open this book and we read through the Old Testament, and when we read through the New Testament and we read these stories about guys like David and Saul and Jonathan, it might feel like we're just reading any other book, but we got to remember this actually happened. So let's read through it a little more. Let's kind of get a picture in our mind for these characters. I want each of you to kind of imagine what each of these men might look like so that you can kind of imagine their actions through the story. And let's kind of pick up where JP left off. So I'm actually going to jump back to 1 Samuel 18 to dig a little more into David and Jonathan's friendship. So I'm going to read verses 1 through 4 of chapter 18. As soon as he had finished speaking to Saul, the soul of Jonathan was knit to the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul. Okay, so just imagine that deep of a friendship. Right? Do any of you have like a best friend? Like raise your hand if you have a best friend you can imagine. Some of you don't have your hands up, though. We can be friends. That's okay. I need some more friends too. But if you have a best friend, or if at some point in your life you've had a best friend, you can kind of imagine this deep bond, right? You have this deep bond with your best friend, and it's unlike any other friendship, right? You're so close with that person that you are connected. Right? There is a special connection between you and your best friend, and you really want to look out for him. So let's keep reading. Let's read verse 2. And Saul took him that day and would not let him return to his father's house. Then Jonathan made a covenant with David, and because he loved him as his own soul, And Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was on him and gave it to David, and his armor, and even his sword, and his bow, and his belt. So this might sound like a nice gesture, right? Like, oh, sure, here's a robe. Here's my robe. You can have it because we're good friends. But we have to realize this is more significant, right? Who is Jonathan's dad? Let's see if you're listening to JP. Who is Jonathan's dad? Saul. And who is Saul? The king. So, as Saul's oldest son, Jonathan would be the next king, right? So he had this special armor, he had this special robe that signified that he was next in line for the throne. So this isn't any other robe. It's not some robe he got at Goodwill. I don't know if they had Goodwill, but it'd be pretty cool if they did. But I don't think it's not something he just had laying around. This is a pretty significant gesture. He's showing, I'm willing to sacrifice something really important to me for the sake of our friendship. So it was a deep friendship, and it's just really clear that they really care for each other. So let's jump into chapter 19 now, where we're going to continue the story of Saul trying to kill David. So let's read, starting in verse 1. Saul spoke to Jonathan his son and to all his servants that they should kill David. But Jonathan, Saul's son, delighted much in David. I really like that phrase. He delighted much in David. When he saw David, he felt delight. It wasn't just a little bit of happiness, it was delight. That's such a deep word to me. And Jonathan told David, Saul, my father seeks to kill you. Therefore, be on your guard in the morning. Stay in a secret place and hide yourself. So he's giving him a warning. I will go out and stand beside my father in the field where you are, and I will speak to my father about you. And if I learn anything, I will tell you. And Jonathan spoke well of David to Saul, his father, and said to him, let not the king sin against his servant David, because he has not sinned against you, and because his deeds have brought good to you. For he took his life in his hand, and he struck down the Philistine, Goliath. And the Lord worked a great salvation for all of Israel. You saw it, and you rejoiced. Why, then, will you sin against innocent blood by killing David without cause? And Saul listened to the voice of Jonathan. Saul swore, "As the Lord lives, he shall not be put to death." And Jonathan called David, and Jonathan reported to him all these things. And Jonathan brought David to Saul, and he was in his presence as before. Remember, as JP said, he played music for Saul. He was part of that royal court of the king. Now, the story's going to go on from here, and it's not going to remain peaceful. Saul's going to end up changing his mind, and he's going to try to kill David. And he actually, at one point, throws his spear at his own son, Jonathan. He actually turns on his own son because of his friendship with David. But I want to focus on what Jonathan did there, right? Jonathan cared about David. He loved him. So as Saul is trying to cancel David, a little more literally than the canceled we're talking about, Jonathan stands in between. Right? Jonathan, he walks next to his father and he defends David. He doesn't defend him violently, but he defends him in speech. He keeps telling him again and again and again, he keeps reminding him, this guy has never done anything wrong to you. He's always been good to you. He doesn't deserve this. You are making a mistake. He protects him. And as we learn, when Saul ends up trying to kill Jonathan, this comes at a cost, right? He makes himself an enemy of not only the king, but his dad. I don't know which one would be more painful, the king hating you and trying to kill you, or your dad hating you and trying to kill you, but he's going through both at the same time. That can't be fun. So it came with a personal sacrifice to Jonathan to go through this as well. And so even though it goes on and there's continued conflict between David and Saul and Jonathan, what Jonathan does here, what he demonstrates, is that even if the result isn't going to be great, he's going to try. As he sees someone he loves and cares about deeply, as he sees them be the victim of someone else's envy, he is going to step in and protect them. Now, I tell you this story not as some feel-good story of look at these two good friends and what they'll do for each other. I tell you this because I want you to take something from this. I think there's a couple of questions that I want to ask, and I want each of you to reflect on, that we can track through each character in this story. And you're going to talk about this a little bit more in small group time, but I want to mention them right now. My first question that I want us all to reflect on is, who are you protecting? Who are you protecting from the envies of others and the gossip of others and the bad talk of others, and maybe even the violence of others? Who are you protecting? See, imagine you're Jonathan, and then there's a Saul. And there's a David, a Jonathan, and a Saul. You're Jonathan. Who is the David in your situation that you are protecting by standing up for him, by saying, I love you so much and I care about you so much that even when this guy is trying to cancel you, I am going to protect you, I am going to defend you. It might come at a sacrifice. It might be a little bit painful. The results might not be great and it might not work out at all. But I love you so much that I am going to stand in the middle and protect you as best as I can. Who are you protecting? See, we're all called to love people that way. We're all called to fight this idea of canceling others by loving them instead. So when other people are trying to cancel, are you responding with love? Are you protecting the other people out of love? The second question I want us to all think through is, who do you allow to speak the hard truths to you? The reason I ask this is because when you look at this story, there's a hard communication, right? See, Jonathan, he's kind of stuck in the middle of this conflict between his best friend and his dad. And he does something. He defends Jonathan, or he defends David. But he defends David by speaking some really hard truths to Saul. He looks at his own dad, who's the king, and he says, you're making a mistake. Saul, at this time, allows Jonathan to speak those hard truths to him and correct him when he's wrong, so that he, at least for a time, realizes that canceling David is wrong. So, who in your life do you allow to speak those hard truths to you when you're making that mistake? Because we're all going to make mistakes, right? We're all going to respond to our envy with anger sometimes, and we're all going to gossip sometimes, and we're all going to respond with hatred at sometimes. But who do you have around you who you've empowered to correct you when you make that mistake? We all need somebody. We all need somebody to help us see when we've messed up. So who do you have? And if you don't have someone that comes to mind, you need to find someone. Let me tell you, because that's part of growing. The last question I want to ask is, who do you turn to when protecting others gets hard? Because it's going to be challenging. It's going to be painful sometimes, right? Jonathan experienced his own dad turning on him and trying to kill him because of his role in protecting David. So when it gets challenging, who do you turn to? And this one, the answer is a little bit more simple because I want the answer to be God. Right? I don't want you to just try harder, do better. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is, who are you leaning on when this gets painful and when this gets challenging? When you might lose friendships over defending somebody, who do you turn to? Turn to God. That's an easy answer, but I want you to play that out a little bit in your small group. What does that actually look like? All right? That is what I want you guys to take away. Let me pray for you, and then we're going to go to small group time. Lord, envy is such a destructive thing. It causes us to do such destructive things, and it causes us to be put in such painful situations. But Lord, we know that you stand for love and that you empower us to be loving of others. You empower us to respond to envy not by canceling others or not by allowing others to cancel those we care about. You allow us to respond to envy with love. I pray that as we discuss this in our small groups, so that as we think about this throughout the next week, that we would start to realize where we are experiencing envy so that your love can cancel that out in our lives.